Hey, it's the Empire, GeoBoxing Empire, back from boxing. Now, man, my boy Eddie Hearn, he has some interesting words to say about Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson. Eddie Hearn basically says in this interview that Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. could be a disaster. Now, I can get some quotes for you guys, but Eddie Hearn says a lot. But the gist of what he's saying is, Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson. It's gonna be an exhibition bout, and if someone gets hurt really quickly and Mike Tyson, looks like the prime Mike Tyson and just comes forward and just tries to go out and stop Roy Jones right away, the ref will most likely stop it out of fear of one of the fighters getting hurt. Right? That's what Eddie Hearn's saying. And he's saying, what are people really paying for with the exhibition fight? That's not what people want to see. They want to see an all-out fight. Exhibition fight is more lax than a professional fight, right? Because exhibition fight, you're not trying to go out and stop people like you are in a regular fight. But that's what Eddie Hearn says, man. And it's crazy, man, because Andre Ward weighs in. He weighs in on what Eddie Hearn says, man. And I'm actually going to quote my boy SOG World. Now, he says, and I quote, "With all due respect, Mr. Hearn, who seems to have a lot to say about everyone else's business, should manage his own affairs across the pond and let everyone else do the same. His opinion is not the absolute voice on what's good for boxing. Carry on, thumbs up." That's my boy SOG Ward says, man. He basically says that, yeah, man, you might have your opinion, but you're not some like figure over here where you speak and then your opinion carries the day, because a lot of people that respect people like Roy Jones Jr. or Mike Tyson, they want to see them old, young, small, whatever. It don't matter, right? It's just a blessing to see these two fighters in the ring. Now, throughout the years, boxing commentators have become more and more less corporate and more fighter. Before this, you used to have the Max Kellermans and the Larry Merchants and just guys who are armchair analysts. Never actually been in the ring at a high level, at least, right? You probably had a school fight at best, right? But when you start having these legends in the ring who actually accomplish something in a sport, they're gonna approach it as the fighter's perspective. They're gonna tell you the fighter's perspective, and when you're a fighter and you're older, you're gonna have a lot of wisdom about you. You're gonna speak out the caring of the sport. And Eddie Hearn's approaching this like as a promoter. Is it actually gonna make any money? Are people gonna get what they pay for? And Andre Ward, I think he has legitimacy speaking on something like Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. because he grew up watching him. So Andre Ward definitely has a soft spot for Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, and it makes sense. And you know what? I agree with Andre Ward. It's weird. It mind boggles me how two legends in America will fight, and people in Britain got a problem with it. It doesn't make any sense. Now, Eddie Hearn may think that it will not do good for some reason. I don't know why, but honestly, let's be honest here. If Mike Tyson blows up again, people are really not gonna be caring about Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. At least not in America. People in the UK might care about that, but in reality, they're gonna be like, "Who's this Tyson Fury guy? We want to see Mike Tyson." The more if Mike Tyson beats Roy Jones Jr., a lot of people are favoring him to win. I think Roy Jones Jr. has a good chance to win. I'm rocking my boy Roy Jones Jr. win, lose, or draw, because the guy gets no respect, man. They act like this guy has the chin of nothing. It's disgusting. But anyway, the more Mike Tyson gets credibility, the more he wins. He can fight anybody, right? The bigger shadow he displays over Tyson Fury, because when Tyson Fury, before he was born, Mike Tyson was dominating in sport boxing, and now that Mike Tyson is back again, that's sort of a big deal. It doesn't matter how good he looks, people are gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. So that being said, man, it's actually in Eddie Hearn's interest to see Mike Tyson and his Roy Jones Jr. fight not do so hot. Because if this is a big fight, that's a big problem for my boy Eddie Hearn. It's a big problem for him, because if they're trying to get this Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight happening, and it seems like they're trying to get through the whole contract with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. It looks like they're trying to go past it. So they're trying to get that done, but Mike Tyson has big numbers. That's a big problem. And if they don't, and they happen to fight Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder a third time, that just it gives Mike Tyson more time to get in shape, probably knock out more opponents. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? So man, yeah, man. I mean, it matters what kind of perspective you're giving it. Are you giving it a promoter's perspective? Are you getting fire's perspective? But I think at the end of the day, that RJ Ward holds some truth, man. You can't be talking about two American legends and expect no kind of repercussion, you know. So we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out with Eddie Hearn and RJ Ward. I've never seen Eddie Hearn or RJ Ward beef over anything. This is sort of interesting. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about it though, man. Do you guys think this whole Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson thing will cause dispersions over this whole Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua fight? I think it will, man. The more Tyson wins, the bigger he becomes, the bigger the cloud he has over everyone else in the heavyweight division. It's facts. A lot of people say that, you know, he's going to be running for the title and stuff like that. People will want to see that. You know, believe it or not, people want to see something like that. Win, lose, or draw. You know, disappointed or not, it doesn't matter. They want to see it. It's entertaining. That's the point. Let me know how you guys feel about it, though. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Geobox Empire. Peace.